a UFC fighter if you just want to be.
No, that's not what he said. If you're a 10-year-old broke kid in Chicago and you follow your dreams to ROH, to the indie scene, to the WWE, to the UFC, that was his point.
Nobody took it as that.
It's that American dream bullshit is what he was trying to spin.
Yes.
There's never been a guy to walk into the UFC.
He's proof.
At a fucking fight.
He's proof.
On a win.
He's proof.
One guy doesn't mean that it's going to happen all the time. In fact, if anything, him losing that fight and losing like he did proves that it'll never happen again.
That whole thing was total horseshit.
And the only thing that
and
just occurred to me,
going to be total horseshit.
All right,
he's going to get another
good.
one because he makes people money.
So all 10-year-old boys out there that have a dream, you guys would tell them, shut the fuck up, keep it real, because you're not going to amount to shit.
No, I'm going to tell them you have to take the proper steps.
He did.
To progress yourself to that point.
Hey,
he did
it's not his fault.
It's
not his fault UFC wanted to cash in on his ass.
I would tell my son, fine. You want to go?
It's his fault because he jumped himself right into that realm.
Oh, so he booked himself.
No, because, Jeff, here's the point.
He booked himself,
Hold on.
He booked himself from UFC.
Hold on for a second.
I got to stream this.
How is that 10-year-old driving himself 2 hours in a fucking Mercedes to train with a UFC fight team with 17 UFC fighters? That will never happen. The entire scenario of him fighting in the UFC will never happen. If you grew up in Paducah, Minnesota, as Joe White likes to bring up all the time, and that fight team is 2 hours away, how are you getting there? How are you getting your name to the UFC? How are you doing all this?
So a little kid that watched Punk speak there.
CM Punk got all that.
I'm not holding on. A little kid that watched CM Punk. A little kid that watched CM Punk can't see that and think that he can do it. That's what you're saying.
You're selling a 6-year-old who would never watch a UFC fight on CM Punk's American Dream.
Dude, that's fucking negative, man.
No,
if
it's
you're
real
16-year-old, if you're an 18-year-old, if you're 22 and you see CM Punk say that, then you're gonna bust your ass to get there. It doesn't mean driving 2 hours in a Mercedes. You're gonna go to your local gym.
I live in reality.
Here's what I would tell my son if he came to me and goes, "Dad, I want to be a UFC fighter." Train, say your prayers, and eat your vitamins, son. But don't fucking get your goddamn hopes sky high.
There are probably 37 MMA gyms in Connecticut. There's one that has a guy who fought in the UFC.
So that guy's dream came true. So shit on it.
No, because he actually was like from Brazil.
No, shit on it. Shit on it.
He decided to move here. He didn't do what CM Punk did. Get over in another business, take a dump on it, and then drive 2 hours in his fucking Mercedes.
So Conor McGregor's having this big boxing match.
Hold on. It's not just about going to a fucking MMA gym. He's getting training from guys you don't have access to.
So if Conor McGregor
right now, I decide I want to be an MMA fighter, I could go where CM Punk trains and train with all the guys he trained and train with his trainer, and then I could get there. No.
Is that what he said, or are you looking at it from the standpoint that the guys?
No, I look at it from logic.
He even said on that podcast,
so
I
logically,
go down to
if a kid came up to you and said, "Hey, Daddy, cool, I want to get into boxing. What do I do?" You would just laugh at him.
No, I wouldn't.
That's nice.
Okay,
that's nice.
Triple H has access to go train with fucking. Triple H has access to go train with what's-her-face, the former diva, and the fucking Gracies. You're telling me everybody else has that fucking privilege in the world? No.
CM Punk's background doesn't dictate he should ever be in the UFC. What I would say is go look at George St. Pierre and do what he fucking did and then become a UFC fighter. Or look at Johnny Bones Jones without the cocaine and look at his background and become a UFC fighter. Or become DC, Daniel Cormier, or become Kenny Florian, a guy who actually trained in the martial arts.
Bisbee.
Michael Bisping.
Okay, I get it. So for Punk in his post-fight interview, what should he have said?
It has nothing to do with what he should have said.
He shouldn't have been in there in the first place.
Because you're saying he shouldn't have said what he said. So what should he have said?
He shouldn't have been in there in the first place to say anything.
That's my point.
If
he
Conor,
should not be there.
If Conor McGregor,
it's not his fault that he's there. Like I said, he didn't book himself.
He used his fame. No, he used his
fame. He
didn't
book himself.
You're telling me he didn't go to Dana?
White with Vance's position.
You're telling me
because he has $20 million in the bank where he can do it.
You're telling me Dana White came to him?
The guy on the side of the road doesn't have that. You're not even getting a phone call with Dana White.
I said this to you before. You're pissed at Punk, and you should be pissed at Dana White.
You're telling me
it's
Dana White came to him.
Fault that he was on the card.
Dana White came to him and said, "Hey, we're going to put you on." It doesn't matter where Dana White pretty much. You're telling me Dana White came to Punk and goes, "Oh, you're training up there. Let's go ahead and put you in there."
You think I defend the UFC in this situation? I destroyed him for it.
Well, you're destroying Punk right now. You should destroy
I destroyed
UFC.
Both of
them. The part about the money with AC kind of makes merit because he waited until he sued the WWE. He even said it on that podcast. He's not allowed to disclose
it. Broke and went trained in MMA and went to fucking Paducah, Minnesota, and fought some scrub
on a spot
just
show.
To get himself a win on a fucking on a smoker, and then said, "You know what? I showed some ability." And then I went out and I fought, and I fought at the ECW arena for an MMA card that nobody would ever show up to, and I beat this guy and worked his way up with nothing in the bank account and fucking crawled there on whatever. I would agree with his point. The bottom line is the guy has $20 million in the bank and drove there in a fucking Mercedes and got on a UFC fight team to get himself a fight. Lost 15 out of his 16
spars.
Basically sparring matches that are matches to dictate your level of ability.
We wouldn't be having this conversation.
They gave him a guy.
We wouldn't be having this conversation if Dana White didn't just say, "Okay." If Dana White would have said everything that you're saying to CM Punk, I would have had no problem with it.
Between CM Punk and Dana White. Dana White's job as a promoter is to make money for the company he works for.
Exactly. Don't be pissed at Punk for it. Be pissed at Dana White.
I think they're both to blame.
Dana White's doing his job.
I think they're both to blame. Because Dana White's going to sit there and go, "I'm going to make one shot out of him. What am I going to do when he loses?"
I mean, it doesn't matter that it was punked. That's the thing. It matters because it was punked.
Blaming Conor McGregor.
If Justin Bieber got it in his mind that he was going to be an MMA fighter, he would go the same route. He would hire the best people. It would be up to Dana White to book him.
It doesn't hurt AC's argument that the fact that he sued WWE.
Justin Bieber take his ball and go home and shit on the music business on his way out the door.
If Justin Bieber was fed up with the music business, I would have no bitch about it.
Because it's okay when you have that kind of money.
No, it's okay if you don't like something anymore to remove yourself out of it.
No, but here's my point. Do it when it's not easy for you.
I get AC's point with the timing of the issue because, like I said, it doesn't help that it doesn't help when
issues with them way before he walked away and never did it.
It doesn't.
Then he does it and it's okay.
It does not help when you go on a podcast and go, "Yeah, I'm going. I sued the WWE. I got a ton of fucking money. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna go with the American top team and fucking train in the UFC."
Why the fuck do you want to talk about wrestling? It's fake.
You know, it does not help when the money argument for it doesn't hurt the money argument when he says, "I sued WWE, I got everything I wanted, a fucking buttload of money. Oh, by the way, I'm announcing here today as well, I'm going to go train and drive a Mercedes and train in the UFC."
Listen, it's one thing for the three of us to call wrestling fake. It's another thing for a guy who was in the business for that long.
Exactly, man.
To be like, it's fake, it doesn't fucking matter.
How is he wrong?
Who was
by
it this
calling
past,
the WWE fake?
Who was it this past weekend that says, "Man, this"? Who went on one of the shows and said, "Man, this fake shit hurts"?
Everyone in that business.
Wasn't it somebody who went on a fucking WWE show or a fucking indie show this past weekend and was like, This fake stuff hurts. That's how you sit there and say, "Oh, it's fake," but it fucking hurts.
If you ran as CM Punk when he was in Ring of Honor and you called wrestling fake, he'd probably bitch slap you. But when he leaves WWE and does it, it's fine.
Right. Which means he did a total 180 for some reason. So what turned him 180?
I know it's Vince's fault.
Yeah, working for a douchebag prick. Yeah, it could happen.
Prick that made him $20 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he wasn't willing. I feel so bad for CM Punk that he made $20 million.
Because he wasn't. Hey, go ahead. Say what you want, man. Say what you want. But the bottom line is, I guess both of you worship at the altar of Vince McMahon. He could do no wrong. Somebody tried. Steve Austin.
I'm not saying he did it right. I'm saying that Punk fucking should have left in 2011 if he really wanted to prove his point.
Listen,
CM Punk did. Does he have to trash the entire business?
CM Punk did what Steve Austin told Dean Ambrose to do. Do you guys not fucking understand that?
For a second.
But Steve Austin didn't go on the internet when he walked away and trashed the business.
You guys just bitched about this. And I'm using and CM Punk is an example of somebody that actually did it, and you guys didn't like it.
When Steve Austin took his ball and walked away, he didn't get on the internet, do 50 fucking podcasts, trashing the business.
I actually shit on Austin for doing that, by the way.
My point to the whole fucking Punk thing, he did. You did. Yeah, you did. But
Joe,
Austin
you hold pro wrestling to such a fucking high standard that if somebody leaves the business, they can never murmur a negative word about it.
Not a negative word, because Ryback did it.
Come on.
He's been on a crusade to destroy.
Yes.
He's been on a crusade to change it.
What do they do nowadays? Okay, here's what happens nowadays when a wrestler leaves the fucking business and they hate it. They start a podcast, they bitch about it, and what's the first thing they do after they're done bitching about it on the podcast? They call up the WWE and go, "Hey, can I get such and such for my fucking podcast?" They don't completely trash the whole fucking business and turn their backs on the people who made them a star. And that's what Punk did.
So that makes him what?
When did Punk get miserable? Was it before the last contract or after?
When did he get the UFC itch? Was it
title run?
Probably during his run.
Here's my thing.
Okay, and then he worked for a whole other year.
Because he was under contract, which he honored. Keep going.
He didn't honor his whole contract.
Keep going. Because he did stay there.
He walked away before his contract was up.
And then they fired him for it.
But you're asking me when I think he broke bad with Vince, and I'm telling you, during the contract.
Okay, and he walked away.
He said it himself. It was the last. Okay. It was the last straw on my back. That's why I left.
Okay, so why not leave it at that?
Why do you have to sit there and go on Michael?
That makes for a great interview. Next time you have TK on, just say that to him.
Wait, was he on an interview or did he did a podcast with his best friend?
It was an interview from Colt's standpoint. Are you kidding me?
An interview?
How did Colt make out on that deal?
Yeah, he got sued.
And that's why I think that, if anybody should be sued.
His podcast was the hottest podcast there for quite a while.
That Thanksgiving Day, yes, sir, it was.
Yeah, and he's gonna lose every dime he fucking made off it because he's got sued.
No, he won't.
Here's the thing though. Punk will come out of this clean. It's fucking Colt Cabana and his arrogant ass that's going to come out of here, because at the end of the day,
when did Colt even ask him a question? I'd love to know.
They're not gonna be able to touch Colt. What did Colt do? What law did Colt break?
Okay, here's the thing.
On his airwaves.
Yes,
it doesn't matter.
Yes, it does. It's a podcast.
No,
it's not live radio. Yes, it does, man.
Matter.
Here's
Colt's
why.
Not responsible what comes out of CM Punk's mouth.
But Colt Cabana.
He's responsible when he's on your airwaves.
That's the law. No, it's not.
Dude,
that's the law. I can say anything I want to you guys right now and record it, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but you also have the power to sit there and edit it.
If we don't challenge it, we're getting sued too, bro.
You have the power to edit it after you record it. He could have fucking edited out the part with the fucking doctor and the fucking staph infection and shit. In the
He's
interview,
not responsible for that.
The bottom line is,
yes, he is. It's his show.
They're not gonna get a dime from Colt Cabana. Write this down. They're not, because he's not responsible for the content of his podcast. He's responsible, but if it comes out of someone else's mouth, he's not responsible for that.
If you're streaming live, then I could see your point, but he wasn't streaming it live.
It's not a point. It's the law. It's the law.
I totally.
It's not Colt Cabana's free speech that'll be on trial. It's
why
CM Punk.
Is he getting sued?
Because they're suing it because that's where it happened. That's why they're suing him. Doesn't mean they're going to win. They're not going to get a dime from him. I'm telling you.
I disagree with that.
I think they're going to bring up the point of, hey, why didn't you edit out this negative stuff he said about Dr. Heyman?
No, why didn't you bring it back to us and ask us a question?
Just because you say something negative about someone doesn't mean you can go sue Happy and win money from that person because you aired it on a fucking podcast. Period.
I kind of disagree with that.
There's no disagreement, man. It's the law.
I think it's based on what state you're in. I think it's based on what
you can air whatever you want.
Taken out about.
You can air whatever you want.
I don't know about that.
To me, it's the same reason.
You don't think they're suing without a case?
It's the same reason why Walking Dead lost so many people after the season, opener this year. Oh, it's too fucking violent. They hated it because it was too fucking violent.
Right, and at the same point.
No, I think the idea is here when you actually go to a real news source and they do a story on something, they get both sides of the story and allow the other side to reciprocate and everything else, or not reciprocate and not say anything. And when you go on your best friend's podcast and just trash somebody, I think you're gonna have a problem with that.
The fans of The Walking Dead, by the same token, could sue AMC and The Walking Dead. You think they have a case? You think they have a case because they're offended by what they saw?
Hold on. He claimed malpractice.
Yeah, he did. He said he claimed malpractice against the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
But when WWE has video footage of nothing on his fucking back, and there was nothing there for the doctor to cut out.
Well, he has a doctor that said he cut it out, Joe.
He paid that
lying.
Doctor too.
Somebody is lying.
He paid that doctor too.
Well, his insurance probably did, Joe.
Nah, man.
Come on.
I know. CM Punk was half dead, and we're all stupid. I know.
No, I'm just saying, man.
He claimed he was half dead, so I mean, we might as well go with it.
If you see Punk settle out of court with McMahon, then you know Punk was the liar. If it goes to court because
here's another thing
because Punk has documentation that a doctor cut that out of him, then he's gonna win.
Okay, Punk leaves and goes to AJ Lee's doctor in Florida.
Edwards, if Punk fights that tooth and nail, I will admit I'm wrong.
So Punk leaves and goes to AJ Lee's doctor.
Yes.
They find the staph infection.
So apparently, supposedly,
allegedly. And the doctor, according to this doctor, which Punk says on this podcast, you need to go to the hospital and sit in the hospital for 5 days and get an IV drip.
Yes.
Why would Punk refuse that?
What doctor told him that?
The AJ Lee's doctor, the doctor that finally told him he had this big full-blown staph infection. And then all of a sudden he goes, you need to go to the hospital and get an IV antibiotic drip and be in the hospital for like a week to get this cure. He goes, no, do you think you could just give me some pills and I'll fucking go home and do it? He had already quit the WWE at that point.
IVs are just antibiotics.
Yeah, but okay.
Yeah, so you can give him a pill.
So the doctor is recommending something. In his professional opinion, you need to be in the fucking hospital for this. We need to monitor you to make sure it doesn't fucking kill you. And he goes, no, give me a pill.
Okay. It's an infection. Antibiotics.
Punk, no, but my thing is, why defy the doctor's orders and go against doctor's orders if you ain't got to go, you ain't got shit to do?
Why would you want to sit in the hospital for 5 days on an IV drip when you can take a pill?
Because it's going to 100% make sure this shit goes away. You could take all those fucking pills you want to, man, and keel over in the middle of the night.
And the way it works is he probably did his prescription for the antibiotics, and then he went back if it didn't clear up. If it cleared up, that means the infection's gone.
I mean, he was so concerned about dying. I mean, God forbid.
Full-blown staph infection, and their doctors.
Here's my
thing.
Honestly, hold on.
If the doctors look at me and tell me,
my issue with the podcast.
If the doctors look at me and tell me I need to spend a week in the hospital to clear, like the diabetes thing last year, we'd really like you to sit. I'll let you go home right now. I'll give you the fucking medicine to get your blood sugar down, but I'd really like you to see a hospital doctor and a dietitian to really fucking get a grasp on this. I stayed in the hospital. I took the doctor's advice. Why? Because he fucking knows more than I do about what's going to fucking cure this.
It doesn't, Joe. It's an antibiotic. You're overthinking this.
And it's
That's
just
what
a
they
pill
do.
to
Listen,
lower my blood sugar.
I had a rash all over my body, right, when I got the Lyme disease. It was disgusting. Okay? I went to the doctor, they took my blood and tested it, and it came back positive. Here's the treatment. If you have severe Lyme disease, you go to the hospital and you get an IV drip and you're in there for about a week. If it's mild, they give you pills. So what they did was they told me, start on the pills. If this doesn't work by the time the prescription's gone, if that rash isn't gone and you're not feeling better, you need to come back and then you'll be going to the hospital. It's the same thing.
A Lyme disease, though, isn't going to fucking kill you as quick as a staph infection would. Ask Chris Candido.
No, you're right about that, but it's an infection. That's how they treat it with antibiotics. He didn't need a surgery. See, that's why this thing is so muddled up already, because all wrestling fans are going, oh, you're going to sue the pants off him. Not necessarily. Because all he has to do is show them. I kind of see
your point, because back in, I want to say, I brung it up earlier tonight, The Undertaker versus fucking Austin in that fucking First Blood match. Part of the video package leading up to that and part of the hype was how Austin had a staph infection in his elbow. What did he do? He heavily bandaged it, taped it up, went out there and wrestled.
Mm-hmm. See, that's what it's going to come down to. If WWE can provide documentation that he saw the doctor and refused treatment or whatever, then they have a case. Yeah, and that could be possible.
Does WWE document every time somebody visits that fucking trainer's room?
Probably not. And
probably
that's probably
not.
where. Yeah. That's probably where the problem is.
I kind of am tipping the scales on AC's fucking money thing, because I find it funny how he didn't announce anything for the UFC until after that lawsuit was settled and he got that big fat check. Part of me wonders if he would have lost that lawsuit and WWE didn't have to pay his ass anything, would he have fucking went to UFC then? The same way. He probably still would have went, but would he have been driving the Mercedes and training with the high-class teams and all that shit?
He probably would have taken a hit in his bank account, that's for sure.
And
you want my thoughts?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Jump in.
I'll start with the podcast.
This is the best radio ever.
Okay. No. I'm going to be quick. I promise.
No, be quick now. It's 5 a.m., man. We're pulling an all-nighter.
Oh, my God. It's 5. Go ahead, AC. You finish up, and then go ahead.
My problem with the podcast is this. When you go on 60 Minutes or you go on 2020 or
Michael Landsberg,
new show you want to go on, you make claims. They allow the detractors, the other party, to dispute those claims.
I agree.
They do research.
I agree.
They do a real news story on what you're claiming.
Mm-hmm.
When you go on your best friend's podcast, you can say whatever you want. And it's not just the shit with the doctor. It's the shit where he booked everything perfect and WWE ruined everything he wanted to do. And he wanted to sponsor sweatshirts and they wouldn't let him and all this stuff. And you know what? He could be 100% right about all that. But when you go on your best friend's podcast and you have no credible source, you have no credible person to back up any claim you make, you're opening yourself up for something. And that's all I'm saying. And when it comes to the UFC stuff, you could say, all right, dreams, this is what dreams are made of. You could do whatever you want. But when it comes to being a UFC fighter, he jumped a lot of horse gates to get where he had to be. You're not training with his fucking team without a name or without money.
Okay.
I'm not disputing that.
I think to AC's point.
And listen, that's what CM Punk's about right now. He's a self-promoter. He's a self-promoter that shits on. He shits on where he came from. That's his business, but he does it. I take exception with people arguing with me that he does it. I say he does.
Okay.
I think what AC's saying is AC would have liked it better if he would have done little spot shows for independent MMA things in Paducah and then came over to the UFC, after he had a couple of quote-unquote semi-professional bouts.
If CM Punk
or even went to the Ultimate Fighter.
Hold on. if CM Punk went and trained with a fight team and won 3 fights, and they said, you know what, this is CM Punk. This is, this guy is a name. And he went out there and fought. He showed a background. His first fight was in the UFC against a guy they brought in for him to fight. And he got savaged without any offensive move.
Has Mickey Gall had a fight in the UFC since? Since
Yes.
Punk? Yes? Okay. So something good did come out of it.
To be fair, he won the fight, too.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this, AC. If Punk had trained, even if he had trained with this high-level team, paid his way in there, whatever the case may be, instead of having a fight on a pay-per-view, if all of a sudden then they announced Ultimate Fighter CM Punk, and he wins the Ultimate, gone that route.
He went on the show?
Yeah, if he had trained for a little while, maybe, and then went on the Ultimate Fighter.
Honestly, if he went on the show, I'd have a hard time having an argument. If he went on the show and showed skill level.
Yeah, I mean, I think AC's point to all this is that he didn't earn that spot.
If he showed a skill level on the show, I mean, listen, they did it with what's his face there, died recently, Kimmel Slice. If you go on a show and you show a skill level, it's hard to argue. But he did none of that.
Kimbo didn't because he got fucking ravaged by Rohan.
Well, but give Kimbo credit.
He was willing to go through and take his lumps and pay his dues.
Oh, Dana White said, Kimbo Slice wants to be a UFC fighter. He's got to go on the show. He went on the show. He lost the fight early on that show. Stayed in the house. Did his training.
Went through that camp, yeah.
All of that stuff. And listen, he got his ass whipped in all his other UFC fights, but he put the fucking work in.
So CM Punk,
he didn't have the money in the bank that CM Punk has.
So the money in the bank doesn't mean fucking really anything.
But
Kimbo had money too, man.
Listen,
come on.
Hold on. My reason for bringing that up is it's very easy to walk away from your profession and walk away from everything you've done when you have that in the bank.
So Tim Tebow going and playing in baseball. Should he be playing? I don't think Tim Tebow should be playing baseball right now. It's the same thing.
I agree. It's ridiculous. Tim Tebow has no basis for playing professional baseball.
He's hit home runs, though.
Other than the fact that he's going to sell minor league tickets for the Mets, and he's writing a fucking book.
And to me, the same thing was true with Michael Jordan.
Listen, I'll be consistent. Tim Tebow has no reason for playing for the Mets right now.
The same.
I don't blame Tim Tebow for that, though. I blame the GM of the Mets
for signing him.
Yes.
Honestly, I see both sides of the situation. I see Dana White should have looked at him and goes,
everything CM Punk does is right, and everybody else is wrong.
Honestly, Dana White should have looked at him and said,
he didn't get on the card himself, man.
Do you not agree that Dana White should have looked at him and goes, you're a fucking pro wrestler? As much as UFC has trashed pro wrestling over the years.
I am not defending Dana White in this. I agree. He should have said, fuck you, dude. But what is Dana White's?
To make money. That's his goal, and he did it.
Well, yeah, but he also has a basis to go on.
Let me ask you this: did they have a basis to go on with Brock Lesnar?
Brock Lesnar, and he goes, you know what? I could work the fucking dumbass wrestling community to have them watch CM Punk, and Dana White worked all of them.
Yep. You're honestly telling me? You're honestly telling me?
He's right. I ripped the fucking UFC for it.
You're honestly telling me that Dana White looked at CM Punk and goes, this could be the next Brock Lesnar?
No. Not as a fighter, as selling a show, yes.
Because he thought, okay, here's the thing, though. Hold on, let me finish. He thought all the pro wrestling fans, were going to fucking follow him.
The show CM Punk fought on would have done 3 to 6, 700,000 pay-per-view buys, and it did over 1 million because of CM Punk. That's why CM Punk.
My thing is that I think he thought, we're going to get the pro wrestling fan. We're going to get more pro wrestling fans over here watching us. And then CM Punk goes on there and starts trashing the fucking business. If I'm Dana White, I'm looking at Punk going, what the fuck are you doing? You're ruining my fucking audience.
Here's the thing, Joe.
That's why I'm bringing you in.
Yeah, well, hold on. We have the poster child for the guy who doesn't care fucking on this show with us. They don't care. They cheer for him anyway. They watch his MMA fights anyway. He can trash the pro wrestling business all he wants, and all these guys out there will make the excuse.
I'm not butthurt. I'm not butthurt like you are. That's the difference.
I'm not butthurt. I don't.
Yeah,
like
you are because you keep bringing up the
like
wrestling
anyway.
business.
I don't
he
like
trashed
him
the wrestling business. You keep saying it. Who cares? I don't
like him anyway. I don't like him anyway.
But that's why, because he trashed the wrestling business. That's one of the reasons you've been talking about this for the past hour.
Because I have not put CM Punk on the pedestal that all you guys.
Because he forgot where he came from. You've been saying it for the past hour. I don't give a fuck.
He wasn't even on the level he thought where he came from.
He trashed the wrestling business all the time. So if it's different because he's actually in the business, so therefore he's not allowed to trash the business.
Okay.
That's
I started this night with shitting on the Undertaker. And I'm supposed to put fucking CM Punk on a pedestal.
Did I say that?
I'm just saying.
What? What are you just saying?
I'm consistent.
I love how this went away from me not liking Roman Reigns to you two fighting.
I never thought CM Punk was that fucking important.
Honestly, in the grand scheme of things, man, that fucking company, Punk is not important to WWE in the grand scheme of things now because he's
never been.
Well,
I'm just a spoke on the wheel. You guys are still going to be here when I leave. Remember that?
And we're still there, and he's still not that.
Exactly. So what does it matter?
He's more important than he is.
But you're basing the fact of your dislike for him on the fact that he left.
I should dismiss him because he rubs me the wrong way, whether he's there or he's not.
So now it's different. Now you just don't like him.
I've always said that, though. I don't like him. I don't like him when he's there. I don't like him when he's not there. I don't like him when he rips the wrestling business. I don't like him when he's in the UFC. I don't like anything about the guy. And he rubs me the wrong way when he goes on a fucking podcast with his best friend, rips the company he worked for, rips the business that made him famous, and everybody thinks that's fine. I don't think the wrong way.
I don't think he ripped the business as much as he ripped one company. It's not like he was sitting on there fucking jabbing Ring of Honor or any other company in the wrestling business.
Indirectly.
The only thing is though, what leads into that is when you ask him a pro wrestling related question and he shits
brought up
on
wrestling since then, he said, "I don't discuss fake wrestling." I mean, come on. Listen, let's be honest here. We're talking to a universe who destroyed Conor McGregor for calling wrestling fake, but it's okay for CM Punk. Okay.
Why is it okay for Conor, but not CM Punk?
That's what I wanted to ask you.
It's more okay for Conor because he shouldn't understand it. CM Punk should be the last guy to call wrestling.
So if Conor McGregor, who's going to have this fucking fight with Floyd Mayweather probably, sits there and goes, this is boxing. I don't want nothing to do with you MMA jackoffs. Would you still be behind McGregor?
If Conor McGregor turned his back on MMA, I'd rip him for that.
And Floyd Mayweather's going to go, yeah, boy, we don't need these fucking MMA motherfuckers. I'm promoting the motherfucker that's going to make $1 million anyway.
Why does Floyd Mayweather care about MMA?
Why is it different if Conor rips on wrestling but Punk? Just because he was in the business? Why is that different?
He forgot.
Because Conor's never fucking wrestled.
Honestly, I'll tell you this. This is the honest God truth. If Conor ripped on MMA the way
so anybody that makes money in a business, they can't rip on it. That's what you're telling me.
No, I'm saying don't forget where he came from.
Well, he came from shit, dude. So maybe he didn't forget where he came from. Okay, well maybe he won't either.
When did Conor go? MMA doesn't matter.
Well, he didn't leave MMA, so
he's leaving.
How can you compare it?
He's leaving it to go to boxing.
Apparently, he's a boxer right now.
Yeah, and he'll be back to MMA.
Maybe
he will. He's
gonna make. Yeah, but here's the thing you don't understand. Conor's gonna make $100 million. Conor could just go, "Fuck you, UFC. I made $100 million. I'm not coming back."
That's true.
How long is CM Punk's UFC? How long?
And I'll tell you this: if he trashed the UFC after that, I'm gonna rip him too.
How long is CM Punk's UFC contract for?
5,
6,
4 or 5? Oh, 6.
Years or fights?
Fights. UFC contracts are based on.
So essentially, if this second fight or whatever never happens, he could be on lean to. Is he making any money right now from the UFC while he's just waiting for a fight to happen?
Oh, no. CM Punk is under contract with the UFC for 6 fights. The only people who could let him out of that contract are the UFC.
So, but what I'm trying to ask is, it's not like WWE where they're sending him a check every month while he's sitting there training.
No, that's not the way fight contracts work.
So if I'm CM Punk, they're not going to give him another fucking fight. Maybe one more. If he loses that one, that's
it. They are, because they want it. They're going to give him a fight on a show. They're gonna pick a fucking pay-per-view where they know they're gonna get 300 buys and try to get 1 million by putting CM Punk on it.
So what I'm asking though is, if he loses that one,
that'll probably be it.
That's it. They'll let him out of the contract.
No.
No.
So as a MMA fighter?
Yeah.
No.
So UFC is never.
If he wanted to go back to the WWE, I think they would.
Well, here's what I'm asking. If CM Punk loses that second fight, and he goes to
Dana, wants to go fight with Bellator?
No. Here's what I'm asking. If he loses this and he finds out, yeah, they were right, MMA is not for me at all, I'm gonna go back to working the fucking indies. Do you see UFC letting his ass out? Yeah.
Yeah. For wrestling, yeah.
And they're gonna say, okay, we'll let you out, but part of that release agreement is you can't go work for Bellator for 10 years.
You can't fight for Bellator ever.
Question, AC. If he would retire, is he still under contract, kind of?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Okay, gotcha.
Rampage tried that.
Okay.
And Bellator reversed it the other way. Where he was under contract with Bellator, he tried to fight with the UFC, and Bellator
okay.
cut back.
Of all these people.
So as far as MMA fights go, he's tied to the UFC. Would Dana White let him go wrestle again? I'm sure he would. Why wouldn't he?
Of all these people,
that's not going to hurt the UFC business. I mean,
of all these people in WWE nowadays, we just saw Kurt Angle make amends. Bruno Sammartino made amends with the company. A lot of never say never. Within the next 10 years, do you see Punk in the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Does he wrestle for WWE within the next 5 years?
Yes.
He's 38 years old. He ain't getting any younger. If he's gonna,
that's what I was just thinking. How old is he?
I'm going. Yes, I think he's gonna have another fight in the UFC, and I think the MMA bloom will come off the rose, and I think he's gonna make amends. And
I think it's more of a fact of.
And honestly, I think he should wrestle again, and I think he should be in the Hall of Fame.
I think he should be out there wrestling right now. He had his
whether I
there.
dislike him or not is not the point. He has a place, and I think he has a reaction. And I think he'll wrestle, and I think he'll go in the Hall of Fame.
I think that
he honestly should. Whether I dislike him or not, and I'm not gonna make a big deal of it when he does, but I think he should.
I think that with Punk, you hear every wrestler who goes away.
I'd rather have him out of MMA, to be honest with you.
If you hear about every wrestler that goes away getting bitten back by the bug and drawn back in, I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet with him.
Maybe it has, and he's still working it out with them.
I mean, he's been gone since 2014. So he's been gone 3 years.
Signed late 2014. He signed his 6-fight contract with the UFC. So he's their property. So until Dana White says, yeah, go back to, WWE. I mean, maybe that's a negotiation. Maybe they're telling him have another fight. Who knows what. I mean, listen, Dana White put him in one fight. Why wouldn't he put him in another? They're WME now. They're not Zuffa anymore.
There's been plenty of people who have only worked one fight, and then he's like, that didn't work out. Goodbye.
Right, but they didn't sell 1 million pay-per-views like Punk did.
Who else was on that card?
To be fair, he sold a lot of pay-per-views.
Who else?
It was in Cleveland. It was
Overeem versus
Stipe and Overeem. At heavyweight, that's
Uriah Faber and Rivera.
Not a big deal. So I mean, the big selling point in that card was Punk.
Yeah, there's nobody else on here that interests me.
No,
Faber,
I'm telling
maybe.
you, it would have done 300,000, and it did probably 1.1 or 1.2.
This is before Uriah Faber really became a household name. Before.
Before, I mean, he just retired.
You know what I mean, though. I mean, like, more people. If I turn on the
right,
MMA station,
if you're an MMA guy, you know where Uriah Faber is.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, if I'm the casual fan, if I'm turning on the fucking MMA channel on Sirius XM, they're talking more now about Faber and everybody who's retired now, more than they are people who are actually there fighting. So
I think that's part of WME. There's a big change with that ownership change.
Anyway, I'm gonna stop recording.
Oh no! All I'm saying is if
it's 5:30 AC.
Did you record?
I've been recording for the last 30 minutes. We've been streaming. Yeah.
Shit.
That whole fucking
the whole thing.
That whole
all
argument.
I'm saying is if they want to use CM Punk for another fight, they might, and then they'll let him out of his deal to do whatever else he wants other than fight MMA fights. I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, we've been going live for the last 40 minutes.
I could care less whether I see him in WWE again, but whatever.
Well, there you have it.
Does he go to WWE or does he show up in Japan or Indies?
I mean, I would think WWE. I mean, I guess.
I think if he's going to do it, he's going to go.
Why would he degrade himself to go wrestle with those guys?
Kurt Angle degraded himself to go with TNA.
Kurt Angle has more respect than CM Punk.
True.
Yeah, he never talked bad about Vince in the past 10 years.
Why is this about Vince?
Because he runs WWE, he owns it.
Vince is the one backing the lawsuit with this Doctor and Punk. The lawsuit's not from WWE versus CM Punk. It's Doctor. It's the Doctor versus CM Punk. And you honestly think this Doctor has enough money to fucking hold a lawsuit? No. WWE's backing this guy.
No, he just mentioned Angle. I said Angle didn't talk about bad about Vince while he was in TNA
Angle trashed Vince to shits.
Wait, White mentioned Angle, not me.
Oh, sorry, whichever one.
I'm talking about the lawsuit with Punk.
I mean, neither did Lesnar.
Oh no.
Well, here's the thing, though.
Never.
Fucking Lesnar. I can understand Lesnar's point.
I'm not even saying CM Punk's not right. I'm not saying he's not right about talking about Vince. I'm just saying he's made a lot of questionable statements. That's my only point.
I think with Lesnar had a valid argument because when he signed his name to the dotted line, but when Vince is trying to hold you to a 10-year non-compete where you can't wrestle or do MMA, what the fuck else was he going to do,
Well, let's be honest. Lesnar had more of a background to fight in MMA than CM Punk ever did in his life.
I totally agree with that.
Oh, yeah, the amateur wrestling alone kind of, gets his foot in the door.
No, that's my point. And he won a fight.
Punk never wrestled amateur. Punk is all
wrestled
pro.
In the backyard. He's a fucking back. He's the type of guy wrestling guys shit on right now.
He's a fake wrestler, like he says.
Yeah, I know. Well, he hates wrestling and it's fake, so why wouldn't he be a fake wrestler?
Honestly, I kind of agree with AC. If Punk tried to fucking come out right now on Ring of Honor doing the same gimmick that he did,
I'd totally boo him.
They would so boo him.
Fuck him.
That'd be good heel heat, though.
No, listen.
That's not heel heat. That's disgusting heat. That's X-Pac heat.
Him and McMahon could fucking kiss and make up, and he could be in the Hall of Fame and wrestle a few matches, and that's fine. Other than that, I don't want to see him. If I see him in Ring of Honor, I'm going to go ballistic.
I can see him doing the Hall of Fame thing, but I don't know if he ever wrestles again.
So
I'll say no.
There will be some kind of, hug and kiss makeup bullshit because that always happens.
You know what this could? You know what this could be?
The Warrior Award. because he showed so much to people to become an MMA fighter. He'll win the Warrior Award.
That guy in that wheelchair had no place on that stage tonight, in my opinion.
Funny you mentioned that because that's where I was going. Triple H had to fix the Warrior thing. Right?
I can see it now.
So maybe Triple H's kid will fix, the Punk thing.
It's not even Triple H that makes the call. It's, hey guys, hey Punk, it's Johnny Ace. We want to give you the Warrior Award, and we think it'd be great for you, man. So come on down.
You never know. Maybe Dewey will get control.
There you go.
I'm banging the Bella's mother now, and we want to give you the Warrior Award. Fucking Johnny Ace.
I honestly feel like this was our biggest argument ever.
Can we kiss and make up now, everybody, and go to bed?
I think by far, this is the. Well, it's Punk, man. We've been waiting to do this.
Listen. I love Edwards, but we will never agree on.
Yeah,
Punk.
that's. We just gotta let it go.
To me, man, I'm kind of.
I think we're headed to another argument down the road, but I will never hold grudges.
No, of course not.
Hey, man, we're gonna sign Punk and make you eat crow. Jeff Edwards.
You see, we just disagree on
all he wants is Punk to win the lawsuit and then be booked on the next fucking UFC show, and he's gonna be like,
AC,
"See, I told you, he's for the people."
AC,
Bro,
it's Johnny
if he
Ace.
wins that lawsuit, you'll never hear the end of it.
AC, it's Johnny Ace. After
I'll tell you
Punk,
what, he might win the lawsuit, but he's never winning a UFC fight. I'll tell you that.
I'll agree
after
with
what
that.
I saw against Gall, I can't really defend it.
Hey, AC, it's Johnny Ace. After
Punk, you know how Dana White worked you. You watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
I watched it on a fucking stream, so he ain't working me.
Although to be fair, Edwards has been more in the UFC since he's been with
AC,
Garber and Connor.
Hold on, AC. I got something to say.
He doesn't watch every show, but I think he picks and chooses.
I got something to say before the sun comes up, man. I got something to say here. Just Johnny Ace. When CM Punk comes back and does the Hall of Fame, we're gonna get Jeff Edwards to write the movie script, and we're gonna do CM Punk the movie under WWE Films.
Dude, if I can play him in a movie, that's my dream come true.
We're gonna call it CM Punk the movie.
Oh God.
And the title track is gonna be "I Did It My Way."
I won't even be invited to the screening.
AC, can you play the guy from Rufus Sport? We need an actor to play the guy from Rufus Sport. AC for CM Punk the movie.
I can't
Johnny
because
Ace.
only rich people could train with Duke Rufus.
And on that note, it's 5:30, guys.
I mean, Duke Rufus. Who's he?
Good night, fuckers.
See ya.
Good night, everybody.
How are we?